Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derrick Dukart. I'm a farmer rancher just north of Dickinson here, about 30 miles, big town Manning, or the village, you can call it. But I was asked by Alexis to come up and give our experience on cover crops, our what we've done over the past. We started back in 2008. So just a little overview of our place. It was established in 1908 by my great grandfather. They practiced what they knew at the time. They lived off the land, they mined coal, they had cattle, they had chickens, did everything with the draft team. But they raised a family of 14 kids, and which allowed my grandfather to purchase that place. Presently, it's run by my family, my wife, my three kids, and my parents, excuse me. We bought it in 2012. We're about 3,000 acres. We are diversified crop and livestock, cow-calf, yearlings. And you can see it up on the screen, other things that we do through the year. This is my wife and my kids. That's an old photo. It's outdated. We don't take a lot of pictures when we're together. But our cover crop grazing started back in 2008 when we started getting into soil health, adhering to the 5 principles of soil health. When we first started, we used winter triticale and hairy vetch. That was actually seeded probably in 2010, according to the picture. And then we grazed it with pears at the time. And I think this was one of our first fields that we actually ever did anything with. It was just a 30-acre field at the time, very sandy loam type ground. We are limited by moisture in our part of the world. If we can get 14 inches of rain, we're sitting pretty happy. But so just some pictures. You'll see a lot of pictures as we go through the presentation. So this was actually a blend of triticale, some rye, and some hairy vetch in there. Again, we grazed it with some Angus pears at the time. Those babies were pretty young. I think if I remember back, we lost one baby just due to his mama couldn't find him in the crop. We did not do any strip grazing of the field at that time. It was 43 pear at a 30-acre field. And then as you'll see in the pictures, we've actually changed our grazing applications. Into that, we did put our grazing cover crop mix. Cover crops were something new at that time in our part of the world, in the state of North Dakota. And you can see what the mix was. It was Indian head lentils, peas, turnips, millet, clover, some radish, and some oats in there. We did spray off the extra rye and triticale that was coming back. But in the photo there, that was some of the early growth. Just some pictures of some radishes, which we've all seen over time through the years. I take a lot of photos of my cover crops or things that I do just so I have ways to present it to people. Can't see it. I had a nice dry erase board there with dates, but pretty hard to see. Then we turned some yearling heifers back into that for about not quite 10-15 days, and then added some cows in that. So we got about 2 months of grazing on those 30 acres that year in late fall. And then we all talk about the bio-drilling aspect of it, leaves some places for moisture, nutrients to flow back into the soil profile. See, there we go. Into that cover crop, we seeded some corn into that year. That's what the corn looked like on July 4th, hence, knee high by the 4th of July. You can see all the residue that we had left on the ground at the time. That's what it looked like back in August of that year. And then we were able to combine that in October. 65 bushel corn, 52 pounds, 13.5 moisture. Decent corn for our part of the world. With the genetics, everything's getting better. And that year, we actually started seeding some of our full season covers. Went away from seeding after a crop. We still do, but this was our first stab at just a full season, and you can see what we had: 13 mixes, and we put some wildflowers in there on a whim, and we got some to grow. Actually, just some more pictures of the covers that were in there. Got some crimson clover, some peas, some oats in there, that you can see. Probably some weeds. We actually started grazing that. We strip grazed this field with a poly wire. We had 42 pair at a 30-acre field for a month. And you can see the poly wire in there. They didn't eat the weeds, but that's okay. Weeds are nature's cover. Those are tools of the trade that we use. And just some more pictures as time goes on, as we're grazing. They did have access to what they previously grazed. The calves actually snuck under the wire to get ahead of the cows and graze themselves. We did want to weigh the calves when we started and ended, but we're about 3-4 miles from the headquarters, and we never got that done. But we want to leave some residue back on our ground. Again, this is some very sandy ground. And just some more pictures of some of the cover, what they're grazing. What the cow, we use cows as a tool. They eat a lot of our covers. Very seldom do we let anything sit over winter. And here were some of the wildflowers that we had come through that year. Another big old turnip. Some more pictures of our covers that year. Our mix in 13 was a little bit different. We added some grazing corn into it, added some buckwheat, and then we did add some nitrogen that year just to see if we were going to get any extra growth. So this was the full season cover. This is 30 days of growth. In 13, we had a lot of moisture. Probably one of the better years that we've had in a long time. Just a beautiful crop. That was 30 days of growth on the radish. There is a 4-wheeler in that picture somewhere. It was probably about 6 to 7 feet tall. We did do a dry matter test to see how much forage available, and I think we were at like 3,000 pounds when it was dried down. It was a very good year. There's the 4-wheeler in it. On this piece, we actually took some of our forage developed bulls that we sell, put them on a 16-acre pasture or field that year and strip grazed it, and moved them about every day to 2 days, depending on what they left back for residue. But we got 15 days of grazing on that field. In this mix, we had proso millet in there. With the moisture that we did have, proso took over, and there was abundance of seed. There's going to be some more pictures. It matured on us way too fast, and we had a millet crop for about 2 years after that, just due to overabundance. But I won't knock moisture any day of the year. So, but this was some of the residue left back after we grazed those bulls. This piece, we did have a bunch of moisture that year in 13, so we couldn't graze it all. So finally in March, we were able to go back, and we put about, I think, 90 to 100 cows that were going to calve in about a week onto the field, because it was so wet, we were worried about plugging. So, but it was finally hard enough, and we put cows on there, and we grazed that off. You can see the sunflowers, and there's a lot of proso millet underneath there. The cows did well. Probably could have used a little bit of protein to get them through, but at that time, we were just learning how to really graze these covers properly. But that was some of the litter that was left after we grazed. Into that field, we actually went in and put corn back into it. We put it on a high population, put some starter and some nitrogen, and that's a pretty high-tech corn planter there for our part of the world at the time. And it was no-tilled in. We had a beautiful corn crop that year, just due to the fact that we had plenty of cover and plenty of moisture. We were able to take 128 bushel corn off in 2014. That was a record for us. It was a little bit wet, but we took it off. We did put some strips in there that we didn't put any nitrogen, just put it starter. We couldn't see any difference in terms of bushels per acre. It was pretty much on the same level. And then these are just some of the full season covers that we've used through the years. I always put one of my kids in the picture just to make sure that I have a reference to when they were young. They're not young anymore, but just again, some covers through the years. This was a high. Sunflowers have been good to us, just that we got to keep them about a pound to half a pound an acre, just because there gets to be too many. And but this live and learn as time goes on. We've developed a lot of winter water sources on our fields, so we can graze our covers later into the year or early, depends on what we're doing. We do a lot of corn stalk grazing when possible. Our 16 growing season was one for the ages. We had a pretty nasty hailstorm that came through. Pretty much demolished everything that we had on the whole operation. Pastures, crops, you name it. So when you have a hailstorm like that, we had no cover left. Insurance came in, zeroed everything out. We didn't want to go spend a lot of money on seed. So we went into the seed shed. We had lots of things that were just left over, threw them all together, put them in the field, no-tilled it in. I think we had 4 inches of rain with that storm, so we had good moisture going into it. This is what it looked like in September, about a month later. This was another month later in November. We turned probably 200 cow-calf pair into that field. The little baldy calf in the middle is a calf. The oldest was probably about 3.5 to 4 feet tall. 2 days later, we had 3 feet of snow. So good things happen, but then things happen and make our, we got to move on. And it was pretty much down to about nothing left after that snow. It was very wet, heavy snow. These are some of our summer grazer mixes that we've used. We've gone from very complicated, high 13, 14 mixes to something that's 4, 5, 6 type. And had good luck with the bottom all. And we try to graze them as much as possible. These are some young calves out grazing. This was a high millet sorghum type mix with a little bit of cowpea, soybean in there. It froze on us early, so and matured down pretty fast, but the cattle did well. 17 growing season was kind of our start of our drought year. In western North Dakota, you know, we can limit a lot of rainfall. I think we had 2 inches of rain that year. So, you know, we had to put a plan together, both for drought, weed control, pasture management, ground cover. Sometimes it takes patience when you grow a cover. We seeded these covers in late July. And we just slowly, every month we take a picture, and as time goes on, things just keep growing and they take care of themselves. This is what it looked like in October. We did put some cows that were weaned, had the calves off, and started grazing covers. We did strip till any of it, or not strip till. We grazed it all. Don't limit access to it anymore. Did a little bit of grazing. We've been doing bale grazing probably since 2008. We tried to do it in some crop fields just to see if we can get some hard pan areas to regenerate themselves. And I won't touch much on this, but that's just one of our sites that we've been doing. In the fall of 2023, we've never been able to raise food. We did put some winter rye in. It was a blend of winter rye with some vetch in there. Seeded at 100 pounds an acre. We started grazing this in May of 2024. We did put a little bit of top dress of nitrogen on it. And then we actually started grazing some yearlings and some cow-calf pair. And you can see the poly wire in the fence or in the field where we grazed and haven't grazed. We put about 130 yearlings on a 30-acre piece again, and they had access to about 2 acres a day, roughly. And we were trying to get to summer grass earlier that year, and we got through it. Just another picture of them grazing along. And actually, once we finished grazing it, we had a pretty good rain come through, and we got a second cutting of rye on that field that year. Probably never happened again, but and then we actually went back and seeded on that again. This was our mix this last year, our cover crop mix after old hay crop. We cut that hay in July 12th, 13th, somewhere in there, just as it was getting ready to roll up in a bale. It started raining and it never quit for about 2 weeks. We finally did roll it up and we put this mix in. And you can see by the picture, there's a lot of radish, collards, and kale in there. We didn't have a lot of our Sudan grass or millet come through, or the sunflower, or any volunteer oats. That was a bad thing. We didn't have once we actually had a freeze come through. Here's just a picture of what they look like. We had a lot of bio drilling going on. We had a lot of biomass in there. But it froze in early October a little bit, and we had pears grazing on it, and right now it's almost too bare. The radish and the collards basically ate up all my carbon that was on top of the soil. And I wasn't expecting that. It was just the way things grew. What expressed themselves, at germination time. So it's just one of those things we live and learn and have to deal with. This field will actually go back into spring wheat here in a couple of weeks. We're big on biological diversity. We want to see as many bugs in our fields as possible. We do a little bit of biological control of bugs, or chemical control, I should say, in some of our alfalfa fields, but in our crop fields, unless we have a bad grasshopper or something like that, I want to see bees, as many biological insects flying around in our pastures and our crop fields as possible, especially ones that make honey, and because I enjoy honey. So, and this is what it's about. This was actually one of our soils quite a few years ago. It's a picture that I actually treasured because it accumulates a lot of things that happen in our soils between the earthworms and just how everything holds together. And again, it goes back to the principle of soil health. But some of our future stuff, we're trying to graze year round. We actually got pre-approved for some virtual fence here about a couple weeks ago. So we're working on putting some e-fence on our cows. So actually, when we start grazing some of our covers, we can limit access to that, along with our summer grazing pastures, only giving them so much a day, and building in some resilience for rest and allowing our things to recover. And then we're putting some marginal crop ground back into grazing or hay pastures. We do a little bit of forage-ready beef marketing, and then we want to enjoy what we do every day. If we don't enjoy it, probably wouldn't be doing it. It does cost money. We have used some of the programs through NRCS, our Soil Conservation Service, to help us pay for some of the covers. But probably the last 10 years, it comes right out of our pocket. We cover the cost because I can put it right back into the cow cost at the end of the day. And then I get soil gets the benefit of the manure and urine that goes back on as either compost or just biological attributes. But so we learn, we take care, we try, and we're staying profitable. So, but with that, I'll take questions, and there's my contact information, and go from there.